Hi, I'm Johnny, and this is Off the Beaten Trail, and today I'm taking you to the Walls of Jericho, located in Jackson County, within, I think, the Land Trust of North Alabama. So the reason why I went ahead and threw in the I think it was in the Land Trust of North Alabama is because I'm honestly not too certain. If somebody that knows more information about it would like to elaborate in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. As I went ahead and did a lot of research, one of the things that I saw online whenever I was going to this location was that I believe that it was mentioned by being within the Land Trust of North Alabama. However, I'm not positive whether or not it is, because whenever I got there, it didn't really seem like it had any type of association with it. Some websites or some articles link them together and some articles don't, and there's no clear definition whether or not it is within the land trust or whether or not the land trust is associated with it, or whether or not they are separate entities. So I'm going to go ahead and just include this with my informational video speech, where I did an informational video on the Land Trust of North Alabama, and within that video I give a lot of information about the land trust, and if you have not seen it, I highly suggest that you watch it. I'm going to go ahead and leave that in the description below. Okay, so moving forward, I am extremely excited to be taking you to the Walls of Jericho. It is one of my favorite locations in Alabama. It is extremely beautiful, and this is an amazing hike. Now, like I said before, I don't know whether or not this is a part of the Land Trust of North Alabama, and one thing I want to mention about that is in the Land Trust of North Alabama, you cannot hike, you cannot camp. You can hike, but you cannot camp. The reason why I want to mention that is because camping is extremely forbidden in the land trust, and if you want to camp, you're going to have to pay to go stay at a campground somewhere. You cannot camp out in the woods anywhere, and at the Walls of Jericho you can. Camping is allowed. You can camp anywhere that you want to make a camp, and they have actual camping locations within the trail system itself. I definitely want to say I was kind of shocked with the amount of people that were telling me that this was going to be a difficult trail, and in reality, you know, I didn't really break a sweat doing it. It really was not that difficult, and so I went on several other trails in Alabama, and they might not have been as long, but they were a lot more difficult when it came to footing and terrain and physical exertion required to complete the trail itself. Honestly, if I was to rate this trail on a 1 to 10 scale, I would give this more of a 4, and it would be a solid 4. It can't go higher than that. I almost want to give it like a 3, but I would say a 4, simply because of the duration of the trail. But with all of that out of the way, I definitely want to say that this trail was awesome. It was really scenic, and it was very much what I hoped it was going to be. Okay, so the Walls of Jericho are a unique gorge or canyon, and they are about 1,800 feet tall, and from there you go straight down to sea level. And at this location you have a lot of beauty and rock formations that form alongside the edge of this gorge, and it is very beautiful and it's very scenic. It's very worth your time to get down to this location. This trail can be a little bit confusing, but one thing that you're definitely going to have to do is you're going to have to go over 2 very large log bridges, and then once you get to the end of one, you're going to go through a field, and then at the edge of that field there's going to be this barbed wire fence, and make sure you go along it. Don't go the opposite direction to the right, because the right trail is not the direction you want to go. You want to make sure you're going along that barbed wire fence. Somebody told me that before I went down there, and if I hadn't listened to them, I might have gotten lost or not been able to see the destination that I was going to check out. Yes, my favorite feature is this little brook or creek, whichever one you want to call it. The water is extremely clear and extremely blue or greenish. It was more of a bluish in my opinion, kind of like a turquoise. And it really has this tranquil vibe about it. There's several little waterfall pools, and instead of going up to the actual main event, I go ahead and go down in the very beginning, and I find this really cool pool. Now there's multiple little pools that you can swim in, but this pool that I found is very unique. One of the things I liked about this pool was the fact that it was very far away from the other pools and that the water was very deep. It was extremely secluded, and so if you want to get away from other hikers and get off the traffic area, you can definitely come to this area and swim. However, just remember that this water is extremely, extremely cold. Another unique thing about this area is the fact that to get down to this pool, you have to travel down a series of many waterfalls. There's consistent amount of waterfalls that are about 3 to 4 foot to 1 foot tall, just consistently trickling down to this pool. And I'm the type of person, whenever I'm in an area like that, I can't resist it. The water was like a fountain to me. I had to wade through it. And as I waded through it, I began to notice that there's something oddly familiar about this pool. It has nothing to do with this area itself, but Alice in Wonderland really makes me think of this pool itself and all of these little brooks and all of these little waterfalls. And the reason why is because whenever you watch the cartoon Alice in Wonderland, and the cartoon, they have a lot of really pretty waterways with little waterfalls, and the water is about the same color as that. So I really think that it just reminds me of that whole experience, and that was one of my favorite childhood movies. So I definitely think that there is some childhood nostalgia for me going on here, and I'm loving every bit of it. So as we get back onto track and back onto the trail, we go ahead and we go to the other pool, and that pool was a pool that I really enjoyed. This water's freezing, but I can handle it because I love water. It doesn't matter how cold it's going to be, I'm going to get in it. And then you go up the side of this little cliff, and then you're at this much larger waterfall, and it's beautiful. And I really thought that the scenery and all of it, just like, you know, how does this exist in Alabama? I mean, Alabama is such a beautiful state, and I just didn't know about any of this before I got there, and it's mind-blowing. It really is. The fact that this whole entire system of little waterfalls exists in this area is just absolutely insane. Okay, so the Walls of Jericho are located within Jackson County, Alabama, and Jackson County, Alabama has a population of about 52,000. Its largest city is Scottsboro with a population of about 15,000. Scottsboro is located directly on the Tennessee River. There's a lot of unique places to stay and many places to eat. It's a great location to visit with the family, and I highly recommend you check it out. Scottsboro is about 30 minutes south of the Walls of Jericho by car. The Walls of Jericho are about 1 hour and 30 minutes west of Chattanooga, 1 hour and 5 minutes north of Huntsville, and 2 hours and 20 minutes north of Birmingham by car. And just when you think that you're done and you've seen it all, you start climbing up this cliff because you hear something behind the rocks. And once you climb up to the top of this cliff, this is what you see. Okay, so I'm about to take you to see what's behind this cliff, but before I do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way I can take you to a new location each week. Okay, well that's all for the Walls of Jericho. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and share with your friends and leave a comment below letting me know what you thought about the area. And then I will see you next week when I take you to the Sada Cave National Wildlife Refuge in Jackson County, Alabama.